If you want to learn how to bead around a rectangle cabochon or crystal, and then use that component to make a lovely ring or a bracelet, or maybe both, just keep watching today's tutorial. Both this bracelet and this ring are created around a bezel that then, in the case of the bracelet, are connected together with haute peyote strap, and here again the ring strap is a peyote band as well. We are going to use a crystal, and this is a 13 by 18 millimeter crystal. Then, for the purpose of the tutorial, I need two highly contrasting Toho beads. They are 11/0 both, and the usual Nymo thread and a beading needle. Here I have a number 10 beading needle. In order to find the technical solution for this bezel, where I wanted to use only 11/0s without the need to bring in the 15/0s, I have made a few versions that were not quite successful. So here initially I had some 15/0s at the back, then here I have used some 15/0s for the back and the front. Here I have managed to get the bezel with only 11/0 seed beads, but the seed beads were not the right size for my bezel, and it was showing threads. And these were the Czech rokai. So when I have tried with Toho beads, the 11/0, the design is working perfectly fine for this 13 by 18 rectangle crystal. Here I want to show you how I figured out the number of beads that I need for this bezel. And I have started with the short side, where I am using 5 11/0s. Then for the small slant side corner, I'm using 1 11/0. For the long side, I'm using 9, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And here you can see that they cover the long side. And then one more for the corner side. As this is half of the perimeter, we just repeat it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corner bead, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and the last corner bead. And this is the sequence that will go around our bezel. For the technique that I am going to use, if you are going to use different crystal or maybe different sizes of seed beads, the principle that you need to keep in mind is that in between the corner beads we need an odd number of seed beads. And now we close the circle with a knot. And we are ready for our first row of peyote. Here we have our thread after the knot, and we go through the first seed bead after the knot that is on our first short side. We pick up a seed bead, skip the one after the one where the threads come out, and go through the following one. And on this first short side we have 2 peyote stitches. Over the corner we make 1 peyote stitch with 2 seed beads, making an increase in this way, and go then through the first seed bead of the first long side. And here we make 4 peyote stitches. Pick up a seed bead, keep one, go through the next one. Here we have the last seed bead of the first long side. At the corner we make an increase by making a peyote stitch with 2 seed beads. Now we are on the second short side and we have 2 peyote stitches. At the corner we make another increase by picking up 2 seed beads and go through the first seed bead of the second long side. And now we continue with 4 single bead peyote stitches. Here we have the last corner, the last increase at the corner with 2 seed beads. Go through the first one from the short corner and we step up as well in the same stitch. And this is the first peyote stitch, peyote row. For the second peyote row, we just add one seed bead around the circle. For the purpose of the tutorial, I am going to keep the color on the corner, but for your own designs it's not necessary. We need to control the tension of the thread, so we make sure that the beads just sit nicely one on top of the other. Here we have another corner, and the second long side with single bead peyote. Here we have the last corner, peyote in between the two seed beads. Here we have one peyote stitch, and we step up in the same time through two seed beads. And here we are at the end of the second peyote row. The third row is again a simple peyote row. For the purpose of the tutorial, I am going to use the color of the corner around the central bead in the corner. The second short side, the beads around the central bead of the corner, the second long side, and the last corner. And here we have the last stitch on the first short side with a step up. our bezel at the end of row 3. Now we start our row 4, where we are going to decrease at the corners to create the box shape of the bezel. And for this, the last 2 seed beads that stick out around the corner, we go through them in one go, and this is the decrease. We peyote with single beads along the sides. Here we work on the long side. Now the last stitch of the long side, and we create the decrease by going through 2 seed beads over the corner in one movement. Now peyote on the short side. We rotate and pull the thread, and now another decrease on the corner, and now peyote with 1 bead on the second long side. Pull the thread, control the tension of the thread so you get the shape you want. And here we have the last corner decrease. And by now we should have this, I would say, 3D shape. Let's finish our row. It's here 1, the second, and the step up. And with this step up, the row is finished. And this is our bezel. Let's check and see how is with our bead. Looks okay. After this row, we will start covering the back of the bezel. So we make sure that we have the right tension and everything is secured. With the thread coming out the last peyote, we pick up 2 seed beads and we connect, oopsie, with the first sticking out bead after the first corner. So it will look like this. And now we continue with the normal peyote stitch on the long side. here the needle comes out of the last sticking out bead of this side. We pick up 2 seed beads for the corner and we connect with the first seed bead that sticks out from the short side. We peyote on the short side. Pick up 2 seed beads for the corner and connect with the first seed bead that sticks out after the corner beads. And now we peyote along the second long side of our rectangle. The needle comes out the last sticking out seed bead on this side. Pick up 2 seed beads for the last corner and connect with the first bead that sticks out on the short side. And now we have 1 and we start the final row of our bezel. And for this we pick up 3 seed beads and we go through the first seed bead that sticks out from the long side and we pull well the thread. Now we have 1 peyote stitch, 2, 3, and now it's time to create the corner. So we pick up 3 seed beads and connect with the first seed bead that sticks out from the short side. 1 peyote stitch, and pick up 3 seed beads, connect with the first seed bead that sticks out on the long side that follows, and now we have 1 peyote stitch, 2, 3, and here we have the last corner, and we pick up 3 seed beads and connect with the only peyote bead that sticks out. So this is how our back of the bezel looks like. To make sure that this is firmly tight and secure, we just go around and reinforce this last row. And here we have our bezel. We can use the component now to create the ring, or we make a few components and then we connect for a bracelet. Now I want to show you how we create this side strap that you can mirror and create the other ones on the other sides. So after you have reinforced the back, we move the threads so here we have the first, the second, and the third. This is the row we are going to work with, and we move the thread up to that row on the long side, and we want these beads. So if this is the row 1, 2, 3, so this is the type, it's just follow the needle, it will show you which is the row we are looking at. And I need the beads of the sides only, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the beads we need. So let's move our thread into the first here bead. So we have one bead, and now pick up one and go through the next one. Two, go through the next bead in that line. 3, go through the next bead in that line. And 4, and go through the last one. And as you can see, we already have the teeth of a peyote band. And now we have pick one, go through the next one, pick 1, 2, 3, and 4. And obviously this will be an odd number of peyote stitch. And to create the last one, I pick up one seed bead, I enter the last bead from the other direction, and I make a brick stitch, I think is called. Anyway, Now we can continue with an odd count peyote in the normal manner, or I can show you my way of dealing with this type of odd count that creates a much more regular, in my opinion, band than if I'm working with the normal one. So the usual stitch would be to go down one by one. I am going to do this method that is called the fast method. Is usually used only for even count peyote, but I managed to find a way to use it for odd count peyote too. So 2, 4, 6 and 8. So here we have 9 beads. Already we have one that is set up here. We pick up 8 beads on our needle and go from the bottom up through the last seed bead of the previous row. Okay, now we make sure that we take our thread to the right and go through the second and the next seed bead that sticks out from the previous row. The thread goes horizontally over that thread, over that bead, and then we pick up the next one and go through, connect with the bead that sticks out from the previous row. Thread to the right, the next bead, connect with the one that sticks out from the previous row, and here we go through 2 seed beads. Now, being at the top, we need to, using the brick stitch, to complete with 1 seed bead. Go down, and now we create the next row. For you to see what I'm actually doing here, to see the beads, let's make the different color, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. So we already have 1 bead from the 9. We go from the bottom up through the last bead, and now 1 bead that sticks out from the previous row, 1 bead, and then the second and the one that sticks out, drop 1 bead, to the right, pick up the next one, and here we go up through 2. We build up again the last seed bead with this brick stitch. Okay, and we pick up 8 seed beads, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 8 seed beads on our needle. We go through the bottom up, and then the second seed bead connects with the first one that sticks out. The next connects with the one that sticks out. Well, if I can connect them, okay. Another one. And the connection looks like this. And now at the last one we go up through 2 seed beads. And this is how we continue to make this band. The first is coming out of the brick stitch, pick up 8 from the bottom up, and then just zip them up. And in my opinion, this is a better technical solution for the peyote band than if you do the normal 1x1. I hope you liked this method of both how to make the bezel and how to attach the peyote and to make the peyote strap using what is called the fast method, but here modified for the odd count peyote stitch. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and ask your questions if you need more details about any of the methods I have shared with you today. Thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao.